Joy is the interruption of the mundane, Kate says in the video this week. I'm so struck by that idea that joy is the interruption of the mundane. I think sometimes as Christian people, we wonder if we're supposed to have any real fun or if we're allowed to be enjoying something while people are suffering, or while work is really hard, or when there's a global pandemic. I think that's a hard place for us sometimes. And yet the promise, right, is that joy is a gift that is given by God, and that kind of regardless of circumstance, joy can come, right? That's how we know and have been taught a lot of times that joy is different than happiness. But Kate also then talks in this that joy is the antidote to the monotony of evil. Joy is the antidote to the monotony of evil. And not only is that good writing or a good turn of phrase, but I think it's so necessary for us. We can get so bogged down, especially at times like this, just in the bad news, in the politicization of this whole thing that is a nightmare, in the death counts and the things when we look into it that way. And honestly, it's just a lot. And yet, in the midst of that bad news, we're allowed to experience joy. In the midst of hardship, the gift that God can bring to us is joy. In the midst of Jesus' last night on this earth, when he'd be betrayed by his disciples, he was having dinner with his closest friends that very night. In other words, good and bad can exist at the same time. Joy can exist in the midst of this evil, and it can be the very thing that helps us not dwell in the monotony of the evil. On the postings where people write responses to Kate's videos and kind of have a dialogue together, I found myself reflecting on one song from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, the show that's based on Mr. Rogers, and that song is that we can feel two things at the same time. So when someone was reflecting on the death of a loved one, and yet in the midst of it they found joy in what God provided for them in those moments. I invite you to be people of joy, to be people who are finding joy even in the midst of craziness and in the midst of hardship. Might we be people of joy. God bless you.